space. Do something? Hey, Scungili! Got it! Come to negotiate, eh? Have you, you slimy git? Look what I got.
Ooh, things are looking up. Things are looking super spicy. And, you know, before I get into this story, just remember that these videos always appear to get memory hold. And we know that these topics are, how do we say, yellow in color, if I was going to pick one. So regardless of all that, if you could, leave a like and a comment and consider sharing this video, because this is an active system to disincentivize people from covering things. And thankfully, I have a wonderful sponsor that lets me put their ad in just about any video I want. So this video is, of course, sponsored by Manscaped Crop Preserver. Now, I know that it probably seems weird. I don't know. For me, it was the idea of putting together some sort of deodorant and anti-chafing on the old ball bag. But legitimately, once I started, it kind of just made me think, why had I never done this before? So manscaped.com has their Crop Preserver, which is a uniquely formulated all-in-one deodorant and moisturizer. And it was designed specifically for below deck and highly active areas. Give it a try. Use my link in the description, and it'll even save you some extra money. So you'll be supporting the channel while also supporting a brand that supports the channel. And your balls will thank you. So let's get into the story. So rumors started circulating that Disney had come crawling back to Johnny Depp to come back to the Pirates of the Caribbean story or franchise. We all know why he was removed. It was due to lies of an ex and a concerted negative media smear campaign against the man. And now things may be being corrected, which is tough because it's one of those situations where it's like, man, if I was in his shoes, I would just tell him to get bent. But also, he probably gets paid like $30 million just to star in the film. So, I mean, it's really hard to just, you know, kind of tell someone to you know, walk the plank, so to speak. If we look at the earnings of the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean, which didn't even review very well, if we look at Dead Men Tell No Tales, it still did $800 million at the box office in spite of just a terrible critic reception. Now, maybe the critics were letting certain media smears kind of shift their opinion of the movie, but overall, with 130,000 ratings, fans still found the film to be pretty decent. And all things considered, what was that, the fifth film? Pretty decent showing. If you go back and you look at you know, At World's End from 2007, that made almost $1 billion. If you look at On Stranger Tides in 2011, that was a $1 billion franchise. So, you know, in terms of film franchises, Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean is, even though the reviews, the critics don't seem to review it very well, it's a money printing machine. You can go to Dead Man's Chest, of course, or Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's $800 million. So it's definitely always made a ton of cash. Even if we go back to, you know, even 2007, 13 years ago, which is crazy to me, right? This movie did not review well with critics, but fans love it. The fandom around Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean, now I got this yip in my head where I don't know how I want to say it, but the fans love it. Look at this. 2.7 million reviews. 2.7 million reviews. You will never see films on Rotten Tomatoes with that number of reviews these days. So, obviously, we know that Depp was removed. And there were a lot of rumors of him being replaced by none other than Zac Efron, which I don't think that, you can replace Depp in this film franchise seamlessly. It would just be different. He is the face of the franchise. Now, obviously, we know we got this covered as a site that is not to be trusted. However, it does talk about the fans petitioned Disney to bring him back. This is a month ago almost, but it's been pretty consistent. You have, you know, petitions. The questions are they really effective? No, not really, because if they were super effective, then Brie Larson would have been replaced by a POC person. You know, it's not well. But after the 5th installment of Dead Men Tell No Tales disappointed at the box office, still made almost $1 billion. Though it must be pointed out the franchise had become so universally popular. Yeah, here we go. That 800 million global total was viewed as underperformance. Pirates of the Caribbean went back to the drawing board, even though the series peaked creatively with the very first movie. And each of the subsequent sequels fared worse with critics. Disney's desire to monopolize the entire entertainment industry means that they were never going to let a $4.5 billion brand simply come to an end. Yeah, these brands don't let, you know, they don't let franchises finish on their own terms. They just drag them along until it's finally over. Now, of course, many speculated that Depp was dropped during, you know, obviously his bad PR, given the actor estimated to have earned, $90 million from Dead Men Tell No Tales alone, which is a huge chunk of change, given that each of the last 4 Pirates movies cost a minimum of $225 million to produce. So they're obviously gigantic budget movies. So maybe they took this opportunity with the bad press around his name to say, hey, maybe the franchise can exist without him. In my mind, it can't. But over the weekend, articles started cropping up from various sources. Johnny, given a second chance as Jack Sparrow. It's been hard to watch Johnny Depp be canceled. The last Pirates film was a flop, and blah 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 blah. I'm gonna avoid talking about some personal stuff, but all this might change. But now, see, when we look at where this rumor is coming from, guess where it's coming from? We got this covered. So I don't know. All of these articles popped up, but it seems like here's even one on Daily Mail. Johnny Depp may be reprising his role as the beloved Captain Jack Sparrow for Disney's sixth installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Due to recent, quote, revelations made about him and the ex, Disney executives have allegedly been lobbying for the 56-year-old actor's return. Back in 2016, it was rumored that Disney purposely attempted to distance themselves from Depp when all the stuff came out, pictures and blah, blah, blah. So let's actually look at the original story. It's funny how this machine works, right? We got this covered. Is not necessarily a trustworthy source. Have they gotten things correct in the past? Yes. But most of what they say is unfounded. So let's actually look at the article and see if they provide any real evidence here. The argument could be made, okay, so Disney reportedly considering bringing Johnny Depp back for Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. The argument could be made that the world doesn't really need another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but when the franchise has earned over $4.5 billion at the box office and it rests in the hands of our pop culture overlords Disney, there is little chance that the Black Pearl being allowed to sail off into the sunset. And that's very true. The thing is, what I would hope is that if Disney does the right thing here, and to be very clear, bringing him back would be the right thing to do, I would go support it. I would go pay to see this movie because we all make mistakes. You know, and look, they brought back the director for The Squad, right, after he was canceled in response to Roseanne Barr getting canceled. Roseanne should have been brought back. Her show without Roseanne Barr on it is an abomination. But nonetheless, the 5th installment, Dead Men Tell No Tales, may have been the lowest grossing entry since the original back in 2003, but $800 million global is hardly small change. And the Mouse House are keen to keep milking their swashbuckling cash cow for all it's worth. Chernobyl co-creator Craig Mazin is currently writing the script for the new film along Pirates veteran Ted Elliott, but little is known about the creative direction for the High Seas adventure, besides the desire to cast a female star in the lead. Zoinks. And this is what we talk about, you know, a year ago, this rumor was circling, right? Female pirate to replace Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. Caribbean. Ah! But here's the thing. It doesn't matter that you would have replaced him with a female. There have been many great females in the Pirates franchise. It wouldn't matter who you replace him with. It matters that it isn't Johnny, right? You have, when the first Pirates film arrived back in 2003, almost everyone embraced it as a fun fantasy swashbuckler with Johnny Depp's eccentric turn at Jack Sparrow being a true highlight. As such, it's probably a good call in the series is being rebooted with Deadpool writers Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese. Reportedly, talks come with a script for a fresh start. That remains to be seen. However, how hard of a reboot is this going to be? But if the new report from HN Entertainment is to be believed, these rumors seem to be that Disney is parting ways with Depp, and they are to be indeed true. According to the outlet, Captain Jack is definitely gone, and his place will be a female pirate named Red, a revamped character in the popular Disneyland attraction who's also a meet and greet park character. She's thought to be inspired by the historic Irish pirate Anne Bonny, and already a few casting suggestions have been thrown out. Daisy Ridley, Karen Gillan are both names that have come up with fans. Daisy Ridley, God, do it. You know what? I don't know. Actually, I take that back. No disrespect, Daisy Ridley. I do not like you in the Star Wars franchise, but you don't deserve that. I apologize. Not your fault. Get paid. The studio hasn't commented on it. So, again, this site is a pure rumor mill, but it's interesting to see that really nobody's come out to debunk this. It goes on to say, Disney certainly upset a lot of fans, though, when publicly leaving him in the wake of his headline-grabbing, you know, situation, which we know now that is all BS. It's interesting. According to our intel, which comes from the same source that told us National Treasure 3 was in development last year, they used this source constantly. And that Disney was doing Aladdin sequel well before it was officially announced. The recent turn of events in Depp's legal battle and overwhelming support from the public in his favor has some in the Mouse House executives now lobbying for his return behind the scenes. And given that there are the same sources who told us last year the studio was doing a Bambi live-action remake, we've got no reason to doubt them. If he does return, though, Jack Sparrow would play more of a supporting role, similar to how he was used in Curse of the Black Pearl, with the lead still set to be a female pirate. How exactly he'd factor into the story, we don't know yet, but in any case, there have already been petitions launched to get him rehired that have amassed thousands of signatures, and the goal now looks closer to reality. Besides, as one of the most popular movie characters of the century, a lot of people would have little interest in Pirates of the Caribbean flick if it didn't feature Captain Jack Sparrow, and as such, we've got our fingers crossed that he'll be able to return. I certainly hope that Disney does the right thing and brings him back. Look, if you want to pass the torch, again, that's got its own conversation to have, but I'm mostly interested in making things right with Johnny. So hopefully there's some truth to this. It's certainly being reported widely over the internet. Considering the source, I'd give it, you know, about a 30% chance of being true. But hey, if they're doing it, do it. You see, what nonsense are you spreading? Disney will never touch him again. And then, again, there's still people that believe a lot of this stuff. But without Depp, there are no pirates. No brainer. Disney knows that. I think I agree with that. Hopefully it happens. Please don't be fooling with our emotions. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.